Hey guys, got a video from Deconstructing Narcissism. Really like this video, just wanted to react to it, so let's get into it.
Um, we're gaslit. Millennials and Gen Z, even the ones that don't have narcissistic parents, they're gaslit by their parents,
Mm,
even if it's well intentioned. They're gaslit by society. They're gaslit by their teachers, um, into believing that it wasn't into believing essentially that it was always like this. That men of generations past didn't have any of these privileges.
mm,
That it wasn't normal. It wasn't normal to own a house. It wasn't normal to have families and have kids. It wasn't normal to, you know.
I want to touch on the gaslit part. Yeah, I definitely agree with him, but to argue like the reasoning, not saying I agree with the boomers because I don't, but to argue the reasoning why they're saying that is because, in my opinion, they're going, yo, you need to make some sacrifices to succeed in life. Not everything's just gonna be handed to you. So I think they see millennials wanting to move up in a work for like in a job if you work hard. I don't think Gen Z and millennials just want shit handed to them. They understand you have to work hard. You have to put in the hours. But when you're putting in the hours and you're constantly seeing people get promoted who don't know what the hell they're doing, but it's because they kiss the boss's butt, you start to realize, oh, we live in a society that doesn't reward hard work. We live in a society that rewards narcissism, ass kissing, and basically favorites. So a lot of people don't want to, in my opinion, sell their pride and sell their soul and be kicked in the dirt for a chance to move up in a company. So I think a lot of millennials, Gen Zers are saying, screw this. I'm done with this crap. I don't deserve this treatment. I just want to be treated like a human being. And I don't think that's too much to ask. I think that's completely reasonable. And I think there needs to be some coming together because I understand what boomers are saying, but they're not understanding what we're saying. I think that's where these videos are coming from is we're not feeling heard and we're not feeling like we're being taken seriously, and it's just going to be a constant battle. But yeah, I do agree. Let's keep going.
No. And you guys know my stance on kids. For the people who do want kids,
Hmm.
I'm referring to. It wasn't normal to be able to afford decent things as long as you were.
I hate to say, I'm not even gonna argue a point. I'm gonna add to this. Um, we see the fertility rate plummeting. No one can afford kids, and I have boomer parents, and they're starting to realize this too. They're starting to see the cost of everything going up, and eventually boomers and anyone else that this channel's talking about, they're gonna have to come into reality and realize that this is not the same society that we're living in that they grew up in. They grew up in a society where inflation was very minimal. A home cost around $4,000 to $5,000, which roughly is $160,000 in today's money. I'll be generous and I'll say 200,000 to 250. Um, the average home price is about 400,000 to 450,000, I believe, if I'm remembering my statistics correctly. So it's not, so if anything, that's double. So we're now kind of competing in a society where our money is not worth as much. And I think that's the hardest part I've had personally trying to explain that to boomers. They don't want to hear the facts. They just are determined that you're just not working hard enough. But yeah, let's keep going.
Were working a decent job, you had a decent 9 to 5, and if you had a college degree, then you were living large. You were living
Mm,
large. You were living large. Like 50s, 60s, 70s, even early 80s, you were doing well.
right.
Um,
I agree.
but as the 90s and the 2000s, and especially the 2010s approached, that dream, that American dream that we always, used to have, that those opportunities that men always used to have started going away rapidly, right? Manufacturing jobs started going
Hmm.
overseas, jobs started getting
Right, because
replaced
men
with
were predominantly in the
technology,
workforce.
and now, of course, in 2025, we're seeing jobs being replaced rapidly by AI. This
Mhm.
AI thing just exploded within the last 3 to 5 years,
Right.
like exponential growth. And I keep seeing everywhere, just like, you just guys, I keep seeing, and it's just the same morons, just gaslighting society,
Same morons.
gaslighting people into believing that they just need to work for less. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, at this point, it's like a mental illness. It's like these people that think this way, that we just need to continually work for less and less.
Well, and what I would personally say as creator is argue this: are you willing to work for less? Are these boomers that are telling you to work for less willing to work for less as well? Because by that logic, that means you're acknowledging that inflation is a thing and that our economy is bad. So the best, they're always going to say, "Oh, I've worked hard for this. I deserve it. You need to." Well, why don't I deserve something for working hard? So by your logic, it's okay for you to get rewarded for working hard, but not me. Narcissism right there, just like he's saying.
And us are mentally ill. They're mentally ill. They've been brainwashed beyond repair, in my personal opinion,
I agree.
by society into believing that we should just work for the sake of working.
Mm-hmm.
We should take pride in our work, and we should work for the sake of nothing. We shouldn't be getting anything out of work. We should.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause a lot. Sorry, guys. I want to know, have you guys ever in the comments, leave a comment, have you ever worked for a job or a boss where you've done everything, everything's clean, everything's looking good, and the boss is like, why aren't you working? It's like, well, I got nothing to do. Well, you need to just work to work. No, I'm not just working to work. That's stupid. Like, wasting your energy just to waste it is such a stupid, in my opinion, dumb. It's a waste of energy. It's not productive. If I'm gonna go just work to work, I'll go sit on my butt and watch TV, or watch YouTube videos. If I'm gonna just sit and do, work to work. But yeah, let's keep going.
Work for these companies because that's what life about. That's what life's about. Is
Mm-hmm.
what everybody says. It's like, who are you to say what life's about?
Mm-hmm.
Who are
Like
you
they've
to say
figured
what
it
life's
all
about?
out.
People just say,
I don't know.
people just say these ridiculous phrases. There's ridiculous things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's just life. You just got to deal with it. This and that. It's like, what? Are you the arbiter of life?
That's
Right?
when you use their logic against them. You say, well, that's just life. You just gotta sacrifice your paycheck.
You get to decide how we live and what life is, and this isn't life. This isn't life. You're alive, but you're not living life. And this is more so common than ever. This is more common than ever before. This is more how should I say it? More relevant than it ever has been before. We're not living life anymore. We're simply existing. We're simply struggling to stay afloat, to survive. I mean, I see more poor people every day. Like, and I see more people struggling every day. And it's just, we were sold a lie. Not only we were sold a lie, millennials and Gen Z, but we were sold a lie and then some. We were sold a lie and then some. Because not only can we not afford that American dream, we don't even get the bare basic necessities given to us after working full time, 40 plus hours a week. We don't even get that.
Yep.
We don't even get an apartment. We don't even get a one-bedroom apartment. We don't get anything. We don't get a decent vehicle.
Your labor's not worth anything.
We don't get decent. We don't get.
If everyone has a college degree, then
we don't get anything.
Why pay
for
more?
the hours we put in, for the work we do. These companies.
Why pay more?
They can exploit us endlessly. If they
there's a
found
smuck
way,
that will take less.
Ever since they found the way, they realized back then, and even more so now, that we're at their mercy practically with these companies. We don't have to. They don't have to pay us anything. They don't have to give us benefits for anything. It's like they're practically at our mercy. The only time that we had any actual say in our benefits, how much we were getting paid, and the kind of hours we wanted to work, the kind of work conditions we wanted to have, was back when COVID, back when we were called essential workers. Now, you guys all
Right.
remember we were called essential workers. What a load of shit that was. But I just find it so funny, and I find it so depressing how we were lied. They lied to us. Boomers lied to us straight to our face. Society lied to us straight to our face about the American dream, and they lied to us about the American dream. And not only that, they failed to mention that we were going to be born into a future where we wouldn't even have, we wouldn't even be able to meet a bare basic standard of living. This is the kind of future that we didn't know we were going into.
And to add on to this point, this is why people aren't having kids. This is why the fertility rate is plummeting. No one can afford to have kids. If you can barely afford to keep a roof over your head and food in your stomach, why have a kid?
This is the kind of life none of us knew we were going to have. Maybe some of us, but most of us were blindsided. Most of us were blindsided. We were blindsided by COVID. We were blindsided by hyperinflation. We had no idea that we were going to be the working poor class. Not only the working poor class, but the working, just struggling to even live another day class. I mean, the amount of food today that people can fill up in the refrigerator, the amount of food that I can fill up in my refrigerator, the whole thing is empty.
Yep.
And I don't buy anything. I buy the most basic of the basic shit. You guys have seen my grocery cart.
Same. I buy like
eggs
tuna,
on occasion
mayo,
because of how how expensive
bread.
eggs are.
Yeah.
It's ground beef, ground turkey. That's it.
Can't
That's
even afford that.
And some carbohydrates and some minute, maybe some canned tuna, some pasta,
Yeah.
some frozen vegetables, never fresh, frozen vegetables. I'm not even talking about fresh food at any fancy, high-end store like Whole Foods or Costco or I'm not talking about any fresh fruit, anything like that. No organic nor nothing. I'm talking about
Just basic
bare
stuff.
basic
Yeah.
bones, minimum, frozen vegetables at Walmart. The occasional bag of frozen
And they're
fruit
like
at
15
Walmart,
bucks.
which is $10
Like,
fucking dollars
yeah.
for a 2-3 pound bag, by the way,
Yeah.
where I live. So it's just like,
Not far off.
again, the social contract has been broken, and society just does not want to let up. They want to continue bagging on Gen Z. They want to continue bagging on millennials. They want to continue telling us it's our fault. Turn the blame on us. Tell us that we're selfish, that we're narcissistic, that we're lazy, that we don't want to grow up. All of these things, all these lies that are not true, because we don't want to work for 5 to 10 times less.
I'd say 5 times for sure.
Than what our grandparents got even back then. We don't
You
want
could
to do
argue
it.
10 times.
We don't want to work for money that's not worth anything. We don't want to slave away for rent that we can't pay for. We don't want to slave away for food that doesn't even taste good anymore. That's not even half as good as it used to taste. And that's another thing. The food just garbage. It does not taste good anymore.
Taste is
It
very
does not
perceptive.
taste good from the restaurants anymore. And I haven't been to the restaurant in forever, but I'm talking a year and a half back. It doesn't taste good anymore. Whatever kind of ingredients they used to put in the food, and even in the food in the stores and the restaurant, it's the quality is down.
Nothing's natural anymore, man. It's just chemicals.
It's drastically lower than it used to be. They're putting all these new preservatives and these new food colorings and cornstarch and whatever, whatever, what fucking ever they're putting in it. I don't know. Poison, because half the ingredients that are listed on the back of the bottles and the back of potato chips and the back of your food at your grocery store.
We have no
Walmart,
choice because we can't afford anything else.
It's toxic. These ingredients are banned in other countries. Candy is banned in other. Candy like Skittles is banned in other countries because it's that toxic. Because the dyes that are in Skittles and candy is that toxic for you. It's literally banned in other countries. And yet they feed it to us.
Well, they feed it to you because they lobby the government and they tell the government, hey, if you keep letting us do this, we'll give you 20 million every month. And they go, okay, that's what all these companies do. That's what all these corporations do. You know, if you're in America, America is just a big corporate machine and you're part of it and they don't care about you. As long as you are, you know, your life is in the hands of corporations, whether you want to admit it or not. You know, I'm going to go on a rant here. They don't care about you. Their job is to make money, and as long as you're alive and they can't prove that you died of anything illegally, they're going to do it, you know? And the thing is human beings are incentivized by results, right? Companies are incentivized by money. People are incentivized by opportunity. Your average worker, these things don't align. So now we see companies wanted more college degrees because that was in demand in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Well, now more people got degrees, and now your degree is about as useful as a high school diploma. Remember, back in the 30s and 40s, a high school diploma was worth a lot because not a lot of people had it. Supply and demand. You have to know this stuff if you want to survive in the world. If you want to make anything of yourself in this world, you need to know this stuff. That's why economics is so important. If you have so much supply and not enough demand, it devalues it. That's what's happening with college right now. Is everyone has a degree. Well, is it worth, if everyone has a degree, is it really worth anything? You know, if everyone had gold, would gold be worth anything? No. That's why gold's worth something, is because everyone finds it valuable. And not everyone has it. That's what drives value, is the scarcity of the value. How hard is it to obtain? It becomes more valuable. So if you can just remember that, yeah, I'm not saying that's the answer to all your problems, but that will definitely help you in life. But let's keep going.
Feed this food to us. Even if you don't eat the candy, they feed this garbage food to you. They feed you this poison with chemtrails and pesticides and this and that. And you wonder why you have all these mood swings. You wonder why people are fucking flipping out because it's the food, it's the fluoride. That's another thing, is the fluoride in the water. It's all these things. Okay? And I'm sorry, I kind of got off on a tangent, but back to what I was saying. With Gen Z and millennials, okay? We don't have the privileges anymore. Or we don't have the rights, I should say, anymore. We don't have the we don't have the I should say privileges. I should say we're not allowed to do it. We're adults. We're kids in adult bodies because we're not allowed to grow up. Society is telling us we're not allowed to grow up. Society is telling us that our paychecks are not worth anything. Our paychecks we don't deserve to be able to buy anything with our paychecks. We don't deserve to even have shelter for contributing 40.
Well, no, what they're saying is your labor is not worth anything. That's what your paycheck is saying. So if your labor is not worth anything, you know, you got to figure something out. That's why a lot of millennials and Gen Zs are being entrepreneurs. They're starting out YouTube channels. They're doing contract work. They're being independent. And I would argue you're not really being independent if you're relying on a corporation to provide you an income. You know, you can say the same thing to these boomers. Well, you're not independent either because you're dependent on a company to provide you a livelihood. So you're just as guilty as I am. You're still dependent. You're not independent. If you want true independence, go out there and live in the woods, live off the land. That's true independence. You're not burdening society. You're using the natural resources. That's really true independence. But we don't want to talk about that.
50 plus hours at a job. We don't even deserve an apartment. That's what these landlords are saying. That's what these billionaire corporations are telling you every single time they up and up and up and up and up and up the price, and they know you can't afford the food anymore. That's what these corporations are saying. Every time you look at your paycheck and you realize how small it is, that's what the government's saying. Every single time you look at your paycheck and you realize there's more taxes coming out of your paycheck.
Your labor ain't worth shit.
This year. That's what society is telling you.
Keep working, slave.
Gen Z. You don't deserve to live, millennials.
Yep.
Yeah, you have the you better buckle up and get down to work and do all the adult responsibilities that society requires of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That society requires of you for absolutely nothing. For not even bare fuck minimum. And it's absolutely pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And again, I can't applaud Gen Z enough
for sure. They've been leading the charge.
For just not dealing with this bullshit anymore. For putting their foot down with this bullshit and saying enough's enough. Like enough's enough with this bullshit. We've had enough. It doesn't work anymore. The shaming does not work anymore. Like the shaming does not work anymore. Society is not taking this anymore. We're not taking this anymore as Gen Z and millennial. We're done with it. The shaming,
we've just stopped caring, I think.
You know? And unfortunately, there are always still going to be these dickheads and these assholes who are still going to shame us and say, you just need to poke it on and get to work hard. You think life...
Yeah, for sure, I agree, man. I mean, there's always going to be a-holes and dickheads in the world. You can't escape that, but I think a good mentality to have that I would give anyone that's watching this right now is, you know, the moment you start feeling shame because someone's shaming you for living your life, and me personally, if you're not hurting yourself or other people, do whatever you want. I don't care. It's your life, right? What works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. What works for you is probably not going to work for me. But what I think, you know, you should tell these people as well. Are you gonna pay my bills? Are you paying my way? Are you gonna you know, do that? No? Then shut up. It's none of your business. So many people are just so comfortable with sticking their nose in other people's business that have no business being there. Like, if you were to rewind 50 to 60 years ago, you'd get your butt kicked for doing that crap because there was no internet. In my opinion, the internet is a blessing, but more of a curse. It's a blessing because we're all connected and we can talk to each other and I can do this. But it's a curse because you have a bunch of idiots, just like this guy's saying, that don't know anything about you, that think they know everything about your life because they're on a keyboard clickety-clacking, you know? Oh, well, I Googled this and I know everything. It's like, bro, humble yourself and keep an open mind. I'm never going to say I know everything because I don't. I'm just telling you what works for me. You got to go out and you got to do what works for you.
Life's easy. It's not that life we think is life is easy. We understand that things we need to earn things. But when you're living, when you call this a first world country, the government calls it, when you call it a first world country,
it's not a first world country, brother.
First world country.
Europe lives better than we do.
Third world living conditions. It's a lie. It's a flat out lie. It's a flat out lie. Okay? It is. And it's bullshit. I'm tired of it. The shaming isn't working anymore for Gen Z. The shaming isn't working anymore for millennials. We're tired of the hoorah, go America, blah, 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 bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Gen Z is done with the gaslighting. I'm done with the gaslighting. I'm done with it. I'm done with the whole fucking American spirit, work hard, blah, blah, blah. Then you can afford the American bullshit. There is no American dream anymore.
Yeah, there is an American dream.
You can't dangle the non-existent carrot in front of us anymore. There is no fucking American dream. The boomers fucking squashed it. They had their dream. They left us the bill. There is no dream anymore. There's only debt, there's only poverty, and there's only living with roommates and eating shit food. That's all that's left. What's left? You can't do anything without getting into debt in this country. You can't do anything. You want to go to school? Debt. You want a new car? You want a new car? Not even a new car. You want a used car? Debt. You
Yep.
want to start a business? Debt. You want to go to a fancy restaurant? Debt, because of how expensive food is now. Everything. You want to upgrade your house? Most likely debt, because you're not going to be able to afford it because everything's so expensive. Again, you want a house to begin with, debt. Pay your rent, even if you can't afford a rent. Even if you can, afford rent, you're probably eventually going to get into
Yeah,
debt.
well, our
Paying the
economy
rent,
runs
because the
off
landlord's
debt.
going to keep
That's
upping
the
the
point.
price every 3 to 6
If they
months
can
on your
keep
rent,
you
and eventually
in
you're going to fall
debt, you're
behind.
enslaved and you keep
So
paying into the system.
you better
That's the
figure out
whole
a way
design.
to make more money, either at your job or somewhere else. Because if you don't, you better have a credit card, because then you're going to be paying all that on your credit card, and then
Well, I would argue this: if you can't find a way to make more money, find a way to reduce your living expenses. Buy a car that's $2,000, $3,000, learn to do your own oil changes, learn to do that. Find different alternatives for food. There are ways out there, it's just really difficult. But you can find ways to reduce living expenses.
hopefully, again, you got to have more income, because you're paying more in rent and you're paying it on your credit card. So you got to increase more income to pay
That's
off your
true.
credit card debt, because you got to put some of the rent on your credit card debt, because now you can't afford the rent because the landlord keeps raising it every fucking 3 months.
hmm What he's saying is true. It's really difficult to do that when,
America is a pile of shit. America, this oorah spirit, people are done with it. I can see it around everywhere. People are done with the American spirit. Okay? Because there is no spirit in America anymore. Right? People don't have the energy. People don't have the time. People don't have the means. They don't have the means. Most people, I don't even know who's anybody I know personally who's celebrating 4th of July anymore. What's to celebrate? What's to celebrate?
Your
Fireworks are
enslavement.
expensive anyway. Like,
That's
it's
what's
just
to
nothing
celebrate. To celebrate you
is
own nothing,
going.
man.
Nothing is good here anymore.
Don't you want to do that?
It's just all gone to shit. It's all gone to shit. You work your life away for nothing. You work
Yeah,
your life away for
exactly.
nothing. And they want you to be proud of the fact that you're an American.
You work your life away to
They
enrich someone else's life.
want you
That's
to be
really
proud
what
of
your
the fact
labor
that you're
is.
making the rich richer and you're getting absolutely dirt poor.
Mm-hmm.
Every passing day
Exactly.
you're getting more dirt poor. Driving your shit car, eating your shit food, living with multiple roommates. It's bullshit.
Yep, I agree.
It is bullshit. So again, Gen Z, I applaud you. Don't let these boomer bastards shame you. Don't let society shame you. Don't let your generation gaslight you and shame you into believing you're not working hard enough. Because it's bullshit. It's bullshit. We are adults. Excuse me. We are essentially children living in adults' bodies, because we have none of the privileges of adults and all the responsibilities of being adults.
Yep.
So, that's the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked this video. Another rant video. Had to do it because I'm so sick of people telling me that I'm not working hard. I'm so sick of people telling me and working, just go faster, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, man, I don't even blame you. Ran away because I've been feeling the same way for the longest time, which is why I'm trying to start my YouTube channel and I'm trying to promote other YouTubers because, I want everyone to be successful and have a great life, but, some people, you know, can't do YouTube, but you know what? I think if we can all try and uplift each other, then those who are meant to do it will do it, and those if I have a part in that, I think that's awesome, and I'm happy for that. And at least I did it on my own terms, not on some corporate piece of crap's terms. But everything he said, I agree with for sure. I think Gen Z's right in not tolerating disrespect and abuse, because if you just keep letting someone do it, you're incentivizing them that you're okay with that behavior and you should just keep, you know, doing that. So good on them, and, good on Gen Z for finding ways to live life without really depending on a massive amount of income. I've seen videos where Gen Zs are investing everything into buying boats and just living off the sea, and they only go and, which is awesome. I think that's great. Good for you. Keep doing that, because, if we all band together as a society, as a generation, eventually these boomers are going to have to eat their own words that are narcissistic pieces of crap. They won't be able to retire because there's not going to be any money going into Social Security, because, if everyone can, get off of the dependency of wages, things will turn. But, I know that's a lot easier said than done, but I think spreading awareness of this problem and definitely encouraging each other to find what we're passionate about is a good start. But yeah, definitely watch this guy's channel. And I'll put the link in the description. Thank you. Bye.